So today I am here with Craig Harding from the opening series and Chef's Bar on TLN. How are you today?
I mean, all things considered, I'm okay because we're quarantining up at our cottage, so we get to kind of have that space to be outside while still maintaining the distance, and also cooking very, very incredible meals and drinking amazing wine. So things could be a lot worse.
Now, I wanted to ask about that. Craig's COVID kitchen. Where did that idea come from? Talk to us about that.
Well, a couple of people said to me, you should really help, the general kind of public that is really into your cuisine, kind of help them basically stay in the kitchen or get back in the kitchen and prepare dishes that maybe you are inspired by or that are close to your heart, and just walk them through, like do these classes and these demos. So I really was, it was a couple of my friends and colleagues were like, you got to do this. You got a great personality. Just get in there, hold that camera, and just cook your heart out. So I decided to do a little cooking series online.
And what's the next dish? What should we get ready for? Do you do it on the spot, or do you plan this out like weeks in advance?
I'll plan it out. I'll plan out the next one. So I've decided to do a fresh potato gnocchi with pesto, because the sun's coming out, spring's here. I was doing a lot of braises, a lot of heartier dishes, but I really think that it's time to lighten things up. So I'm going to do a beautiful pesto with gnocchi.
That sounds amazing. And are you inspired, this is just a little side question, by friends? Because all the captions I see are the one where he makes and then a certain dish. Is that an ode to Friends?
That's a Friends reference. Yeah, good that you picked up on that. I love Friends. I've been watching reruns on top of cooking. There's a lot of binging on Netflix. So Friends is usually at the top of my list. And yeah, that's a reference to Friends. Good call.
Amazing. Now talking about TV shows, of course, I have to ask you about Opening Spain. It's airing right now on TLN. Obviously, Spain has been hit pretty hard during the situation. Have you been able to talk to people back in Spain? Have you heard how they're doing?
I haven't really been able to chat with anybody that I know in Spain. There's actually one chef that I know who, much like all of us, is in the same position. It's like you've got full closures of your restaurants. You cannot go to work. There's no business, and your family's affected. And the real tragedy and the real kind of close to my heart situation is when I talk to the family that I have in Italy, and they live in the north part of Italy. So they're from Treviso and Padova and Veneto, and they are really having a hard time with it all. Essential services have been cut. Access to food and healthcare is really challenging, and my heart goes out to them over there.
Absolutely. I mean, Italy and Spain are having such a hard time right now, but even in Canada, I think the restaurant industry is taking such a hard hit. How has it been being a restaurant owner and having to change the entire structure of the business?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not been easy. I think, the reason we get into this business is to provide hospitality, because we love to take care of people, right? And we love to smile on our guests' faces and serve wonderful food. So we have been having a lot of conversations as an ownership group about how we can kind of evolve our business and move it forward. Like, what does that look like? What are our options? And so, we're lucky because we've got a really good street presence. So I think that if we do pivot, and there's a lot of talk about coming back and doing some meal kits, doing takeout, doing delivery. And when we are able to come back in some form, which will most likely be at a reduced capacity, we have the space. We've got 2 floors and a patio, so we can spread things out and kind of allow guests to come back slowly and safely. And I don't know what it's going to look like yet or when that's going to happen, but I think in May, so in a few more weeks, we're going to reopen for some takeout and delivery of our classic dishes. I mean, when I talk to my chefs and everybody that works up for us, they're just dying to get back out and get back in the kitchen. And it's nice to know that the restaurants were a space for them that that they really miss, and that they enjoyed the time there, and that they're really looking forward to coming back. So that means a lot as well.
And as a food provider, have you thought about any initiatives or any ways to help out frontline workers or people that don't really have access to food? I know there's a lot of different initiatives to help restaurants, but have you thought at any time to kind of provide food for those who need it?
Yes. So I think right off the bat, we thought, as much as we would love to be able to get in there and help those frontline workers immediately, we're really concerned with the safety of our team and ourselves. So we kind of just put a hard pause on everything and we walked away. And now that we're all getting more comfortable with this new reality and we do want to open it back up and start cooking again, I think that's a key thing that we're going to do, is that once we are prepping and offering something to our guests, I think it's very important that we do some charitable work. So I think providing meals to frontline workers is a huge thing. Could you imagine being in their position, not having access to even the time or access to cook or eat like the proper kind of meals? And then some of my colleagues at other restaurants that have done that, and the feedback that they're giving me is that it's incredibly rewarding. The feedback is so positive. They are just thrilled and over the top that somebody has gone out of their way to help them. So I want to be a part of that when we feel we can, and when we get back up and running.
That's amazing. I think right now the best thing that any of us can do, and everyone watching back home, is just finding that little bit that you can do to help out those around you, your neighbors, everything. But let's get back to TLN. Let's talk about opening Sicily, because it hasn't aired yet, but you've shot it. It's being in the production process. Can you give us any sneak peeks or stories about the series?
Well, I was watching a couple clips today that it was the first time that I saw any of the footage. So Riverbank Pictures and my friend Francis Mitchell sent along a few clips. And the one that really stuck with me was a cookout that we did. I think the cookouts are my favorite part. I mean, I love exploring and eating at restaurants and going to the markets, but when we can actually meet people, take what we were inspired by from those areas that we're traveling, and then apply that to a cookout in a new place, in a strange kitchen, it's so exhilarating and it's so rewarding. So the one that I was just like having these amazing memories of today watching the video was, it's a cookout on a beach, right? So what we did was, Roberto Marotta from Ardo, who I guess you're going to speak with him as well.
Yeah.
He is just the best guy, and he was born and raised in Sicily, and spent the first 30 years of his life there. So he took us to his hometown of Catania, and this was in Milazzo. Apologies. So Milazzo was just a little bit outside of Catania, and he knew a friend that had a boat. And his idea was, let's get a group of people together, head out on the boat with some supplies, find a secluded private beach to have a cookout, and we'll spend all afternoon there. So we didn't know where we were going to end up. We didn't know how long or how far we'd have to go, how rough the water was going to be. But we chose this day, and the sun was shining, and it was just perfect. It was beautiful. And we hit up some markets. We grabbed different things. We grabbed bread. We went to the fish market. We got vegetables and saloons. And of course, we went to the wine shop. We got wine, and we set on the boat, and we found this beach. Now, the interesting thing was, we couldn't take the boat to the beach, so we had to get on a tiny little skiff, or a little kind of like little motorized boat, take everything to the beach. But we decided, you know what, we're going to jump in. And while the captain took the supplies, we swam right into the beach, got out, and just started cooking. We set up a fire. Okay, we had a charcoal barbecue. We had the wine and the rosé and the prosecco on ice, and we just started cooking. We took whole pieces of swordfish. I butchered them, marinated, we grilled them. We had beautiful red prawns. I mean, it was just an unreal afternoon, just slowly eating different courses and going for a swim, come back, eat a little more. And to me that, when I think of the Ferragosto and what people do, to relax in Italy in August, it's like, that's the ultimate. I mean, that's the ultimate dream, to be able to go to a beach and eat food like that with your friends and family. It's unbelievable.
That sounds like a dream. I mean, everyone I'm sure back home is extremely excited to see opening Sicily, and I'm excited to see how Italy comes back from this. I mean, they're going to be stronger than ever, and I'm sure that tourism and everything is going to come back. Now, you've done Italy, you've done Spain, you've done Argentina, you've done Canada. What would be your dream country to go to and learn their cuisine?
That's a good question. I mean, I have two answers. I think it would be amazing to go to Australia and to do one. I mean, I think it's a real interesting melting pot of cultures there, the Southeast Asian influence. And I believe that they would have totally different products than we can see here. Different types of fish, different native herbs and techniques and things. So I think Australia would be amazing. And I think somewhere like Turkey or somewhere in the Middle East would be really, really inspiring to go and tour and cook in and learn.
And of course, everyone looks up to you as a restaurant owner. You are very well known in Canada, and a lot of people back home, they might be business owners, whether it is, a small restaurant, a coffee shop. What advice would you give to them right now in this moment?
Oh man, I mean, it is hard to find a silver lining, and I think the important thing for everybody to realize is that things won't be the same for a while, and it's important to, everybody who got into the restaurant business or the hospitality business took a chance and took a risk. And they have to have the mindset that it's almost like they're getting back into the business again for the first time. So what may have worked before, or what your customers may have been used to and accustomed to before, might not be the same anymore. So I would say, be open to adapting, be open to interpretation, and, just be prepared to, work as hard as you did on day one, because day one is starting all over again when we all get back in there for the first time. So, but be positive, because I know from the guests and the regulars that I've talked to, they are willing to support and they're ready to get back out and help all small businesses across the country. And I do see that the sun will come out again, and we will all get back to a good place. It just may take some time. So be patient, be strong, and we're all in this together.
And Craig, one last thing, is there a message that you'd like to share with all of your viewers back home that are watching you on TLN?
I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, because I love taking you on these trips. I think it connects us to maybe parts of the world that we have come from, that we're not there. We're in Canada, but we have roots in these other places. So I just love shining a little light on these wonderful countries, and inspiring you guys all to maybe travel there, maybe cook a little more, and just to be part of the TLN community. It's an honor, and I've been with you guys for so long, and you've always supported what we do, and I hope that we can continue doing more and presenting it to the entire audience at TLN. So thank you for that.
As do we. Well, everyone back home, you know that you can catch Craig and Rob opening Spain right now, opening Sicily very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining us, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.